Hi, it's Kristen here with another process video, and today I'm going to be working with the Hip Kit Club February 2024 kit. I pick out this purple tie-dye paper, and naturally I kind of am drawn to the swirl pattern of it, and I decide I want to follow the swirl pattern with florals. So I take the paper that you saw in the at the beginning and fussy cut all of those. Of course, I did that all off camera. And so now I'm just kind of trying to get these pieces placed where I like them and glued down to kind of naturally follow the swirl that was in the paper. I'm just going to kind of start to fill some gaps in with like some leaves, and anywhere where I felt like there needed to be a balance of color, I would add blue or green or yellow pieces in just to kind of make the paper look balanced in color. And while gluing all these pieces down was kind of tedious, it was actually a lot longer. It took me a lot longer to actually fussy cut out all the pieces. And off camera, I decided I wanted something, I didn't want a complete border around it. So I did decide to tear parts of the paper and just have a little bit of paper showing behind the main paper. And that paper was also included in the kit, and it's kind of like a dark blue background with a lot of little hearts on it. Now this die that you see me working with was from Hip Kit, and I purchased that separately. So I'm just going to do a bunch of cuts with this. I do, because I'm not going to use it in the way that they have it laid out, I do have to end up cutting out some extra O's, since there's only one included in it. And then I'm going to mock this up. I want Love You to go around the swirl of the florals. And so I'm just mocking this up to make sure that I like how it looks before I glue it down. Okay, so I'm going to start to get these die cut pieces glued down. The picture that you see that I'm going to be documenting is a picture of my son. He was helping me make these big paper flowers out of cardstock for my daughter's nursery. And this was all during like right at the height of COVID. So he was home from school, I was home from work, but it was really nice because we got to spend a lot of time together and craft, even though it was a very uncertain time. And so here I was just toying with where to put the picture. I was thinking down the bottom because I had worked so hard on the swirl that I didn't want to cover it up. But in the end, I just felt like it made sense in the middle. And to top it off, I also felt like the swirl was kind of starting to look like an E. And so I felt like, it obviously his name doesn't start with an E. So I just felt like it needed to get covered up a little bit there. And so now I'm just trying to figure out what to place behind the picture. I just wanted to add a little something to kind of give it a little bit more dimension. And so I pick out this envelope along with a journaling tag. And then I decide to double mount the picture. So I mounted it on some of that dark blue with the heart paper and then just some pink cardstock around it. And now I'm just going to get it glued down. And then I'm just going to start to embellish. So The kit had these cute little paper clips that came with it, so I really like this one. It says always yours, and so I'm just kind of playing around with where to put it. I end up deciding I like it there, and I end up adding some glue to it just to make sure that it stays there. And then I really like this purple frame. I just wanted to add a little bit more dimension to the envelope. And at first I thought I was going to use this chipboard love piece, but then I see some puffy sticker hearts, and so I'm starting to kind of play around with some of these puffy sticker hearts, because I just felt like it went better there since there's not a ton of red. I mean, there's a little bit like you see in the little flowers around it, but there just isn't a lot of red. So I just thought it looked a little, I don't know, out of place there. I also know I want something tucked into that pocket, so I'm kind of playing with some stuff while I'm doing that to see if I like any of it tucked into that pocket. So I've settled definitely I want the frame, and then I also decide I want that purple heart, so I do get that put in the middle. And then I really like this little sign. It says love this, and I felt like it would go well there and point back towards his picture, so kind of putting a little bit more emphasis back onto the photograph. And I also want something placed behind his picture on this side. I just felt like it just needed something there, and I think to an extent I didn't really like the E popping out there either. I felt like it looked a little incomplete, and so I decided I want to kind of cover that up a little bit. So I go with this chipboard frame piece. It's kind of a light blue. I mean, it doesn't fully cover up the E, but I just feel like it kind of, you don't notice the E as much, and it seems intentional, which, I mean, it was, but had I known that I was going to place the picture there, I probably would not have took the time to do the love you part there. But a lot of time when I start these layouts, I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to place the picture. And with this one, I liked the swirl, so I started laying out the swirl with the flowers and all that, and really did not know what picture I was even going to use or where it was going to go. So I find this little die cut heart piece, and so I'm going to tuck this into the envelope there. I really try not to go too embellishment heavy on this layout, just because there is a lot with the florals. So I was trying to just mostly focus on getting some attention back onto the picture. I like this purple piece because it like almost perfectly matched that little flower. So it says you're so sweet, and I end up gluing that directly onto the photograph. I see this little heart piece and decide I want to tuck it in there as well. And all these pieces that you see me working with, they all either came in the main kit or the embellishment kit. And then I'm toying around with whether or not I want to put some butterflies on this layout, which I have a tendency, I always grab butterflies just to cover up some blank spots. I really liked this little saying there, and I really considered adhering it down there, but I decided I wanted something a little bit different there. I felt like it took a little bit too much attention away from the picture, but anyways, when I do use florals, I do often use butterflies. I just feel like it's a natural thing. Plus, they're good for filling in gaps or any empty spots that you might have. I decide to tuck this little piece in there that says sweetheart. And now I'm just going to glue these butterflies down kind of sporadically around the page. Well, actually, I guess not sporadically. They're kind of mapped out there, but just in empty spots. And then I'm trying to decide if I want to add some more puffy stickers. I do really like this heart. I feel like it goes really well with the colors of the layout. And so I decide I want to pop it up on a little bit of foam and have it kind of sticking out on top of the frame there. I'm just going to adjust this heart a little bit because I wanted it kind of leaning away from the other heart instead of being so perfectly like centered in the frame. And that is my layout. I don't really have a title. I mean, I guess the love you part was kind of my title, but I'm really happy with how this turned out. It was a lot of work, but I always try to do something a little bit different with each layout, kind of step outside my comfort zone and do things that I'm not sure will work, and they typically surprise me. So thanks again for joining me and watching my video.